I've been talking muted. That's my bad. So, hello, everybody. It's good to be back. I hope you all are excited for the stream today. Had a new video come out, and that's live right now. And then I have another video coming out on Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. I don't want to waste too much time like doing channel updates because I want to get right into the meat of the video. So yeah. Also, tomorrow I will be streaming on Twitch for the first time, and we will be fighting the Ender Dragon. If any of you guys are watching and you're like, what the heck? I want to see that, and I don't want to go to Twitch. That's okay. I'll be posting the VOD on my YouTube page so that you can watch that later on. Anything else that I think of while I'm streaming, I will mention at the end. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure that Kirby is going to join us. I'm not sure, but today is. Hold on, I'm gonna announce. Today is the East Coast RepRap Festival talk, and I am see that, and I don't want to go to. So excited to share with you guys everything that happened. So, first off, hello. Oh wait, I gotta transition, my bad. Hello, hey. So this is the live cam. I'm probably going to go into the PowerPoint and then like jump back and forth. So this might be a little funky, and that's my bad. Actually gonna turn off studio mode so I can boom. Okay, good. Let's make sure that that's right. Oh, it's right. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, East Coast RepRap Festival is a 3D printing / maker convention that happens every year, and there are several that happen throughout the entire United States. So there's I know of Midwest, and then Rocky Mountain, and then East Coast. I don't know if there's like a I think the Rocky Mountain one is considered the like California based one, or like the West Coast one, but I don't know too much about that. But today we're going to talk about the East Coast RepRap. So this was East Coast RepRap 2023. It happened in Bel Air, Maryland, this past weekend, September 30th to October 1st. And I guess I could get this out of the way. I'm going to move my keyboard up. So this is actually how I take all my pictures for my printables. But I don't think it's all going to show up on camera. But oh yeah, no, this is. So you guys saw the tweet, but this is my bag of. Don't do anything funny with that. Sorry, Kirby. Are you gonna join the Are you gonna join VC? You should. Anyway, so I'm gonna start talking about some of the stuff with like pictures, and then I'll go through the swag bag. This might be a little bit disorganized, but I couldn't. I'll hop in VC in a sec. Okay, no problem. So, I'm not exactly sure how I want this to go. So bear with me if I see a little discombobulated. I'm just so excited to show everything off. So, here, I'm going to switch over to the PowerPoint. So, I'm kind of blocking the logo, or who it is, but, oh, I just realized chat. Hold on, chat. Where's chat? Live chat, there we go. Gotta put chat up top. There we go. Okay. Good. Got it. Okay. So I don't know why this like. There we go. Okay. So first off, this is in no particular order. I'm not doing like best to worst or anything like that. I'm literally just going in order of what was on
I'm here.
Okay, Kirby's with us. Let me turn you on. Backseat gamer. Oh, that's why you're being buried.
Yo, is
Yeah.
that the Cocoa Press?
Yeah. I'm trying to fix you on my OBS. There we go. Okay. I'll put you on my head.
Nice.
I like that. Excuse me. So, basically, I'm going to be jumping back and forth between the live cam and the PowerPoint to show off, like, pictures and videos of stuff. And I just realized that because I'm worried about my dog eating the chocolate, the only thing I don't have in my bag is the examples of the 3D printed chocolate to show on camera. So, what a great start this is. Most of the stuff that I have pictures and videos of, I don't have actual like physical stuff from their booth, because a lot of the places that had really good like items, their booths were like okay. I don't know. Also, like I got into a lot of I need to get better at this, but a lot of the time I was too busy talking to people and not taking footage like a good influencer. And oh, I also forgot to mention I was with Mike the whole time. So in some of the pictures and videos you'll see Mike. And so yeah, that's so he was with me. So anyway, first off, again, this is in no order. I'm not like doing worst to best or anything like that, but this is Cocoa Press. So they make chocolate 3D printers, and I was talking to the person working the booth, and one of the things that I said was really impressive was when I first started 3D printing, one of the big developments was NASA came out and said, we think that 3D printing will solve space travel. And they said because we can like print food, which is a lot easier than like taking up like freeze-dried food. You can like print food that looks and tastes like actual real food, because if 3D printing can happen in zero gravity. And they had this video of like a pizza being 3D printed. And I always used it as an example when I was talking to people about 3D printing, where I said this could be the future of 3D printing, where like instead of buying a Hershey bar from Hershey, you buy the STL file or the 3D model for a Hershey bar, and then you just print as many Hershey bars as you want. I could see that being the future of some of 3D printing. It's just a fun thing to speculate about. But Cocoa Press is doing that work for me and proving that it's real. So here's a video of it in motion. I think it's really cool to watch. But the way that it works is this cartridge right here, the lead screw just pushes the like candle almost of chocolate through the nozzle, and it heats up. And so this is what kind of leads the extrusion, is it just pushes it out rather than like feeds it through an extruder gear, which I thought was really cool. And there's an example of, so they had dark chocolate and milk chocolate. Again, I really wanted to open them and eat them on stream, and of course I left them downstairs. So maybe like I'll take a quick break later on and go grab them and show them off. So again, bad example first. I will also, I want to be a good influencer, so here is their Twitter if you're interested in checking out more about them. Also, oh, I actually do have stuff from Cocoa Press in my bag, which is probably buried deep. I'm probably just gonna go through, show my pictures, and then go, like, as I'm going through the bag, I'll like, pull stuff out. But I actually did get some stuff from Cocoa Press.
Oh, you are fully blocking the Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I put it in the chat.
Okay.
I put it in the
chat.
chat.
Okay.
It's just
okay.
it's only on screen for me so that I can copy and paste.
Okay.
It. So
fair enough.
Next thing, IC3D had, this is just a little thing, but they had a fully 3D printed chair, which was really cool. I like stopped and looked at it for a little bit. You can actually see my bag or Mike's feet and his bag right here. But we stopped for a second to like look at it because I was like, "Oh, it's really cool." And the guy at the booth like was like, "Oh, do you know what this is?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure it's a 3D printed chair." He goes, "Yeah, it's a 3D printed chair. Would you like to sit in it?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I like awkwardly sat in it. I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty strong." And then I got up. I can't. So the cool thing that I found about this is that it's printed at a 1 millimeter nozzle size, or like the extrusion size is 1 millimeter, which is really big. Comparatively, I use like 0.2. Kirby, most people use 0.2, right? Some people use
Point four.
0.4.
It's like the standard.
Nah, 0.2.
And even one, I mean, for something that big, a 1 millimeter nozzle is
pretty
pretty
small.
small.
Maybe it was 1 meter. No,
but it's still
maybe it was 1 meter. No,
1 meter.
I'm messing
Yeah.
with you. I'm messing with you.
1 centimeter nozzle.
1 centimeter. Yeah. But it was pretty
no,
big.
But that's, yeah.
I professionally work with like groups that do, like I work with the 3D printing department at my college, and they work with like manufacturers who 3D print, and they print this kind of extrusion. They also had like room size 3D printers that print like huge stuff. I didn't get any good pictures of them, but they were really cool. Next up is Prusa. So here's the is the Prusa Mini new? How new is it?
The Prusa Mini's not that new. It's
Oh, okay.
getting there.
So I'm showing my lack of knowledge in the field. I don't know too much about Prusa, even though they're like an industry standard, but or like they're like the big boys when it comes to 3D printing.
So the Prusa Mini is from 2019, but what they are showing off there is their new firmware that has input shaping and pressure advance, so it can go a lot quicker. So it's an old machine running new firmware and printing a lot faster than it used to, which is pretty cool.
Well, there you go. You can see it going. And I feel like that's not PLA. That might be their carbon fiber, because they were hyping up their carbon fiber at the event.
It could be. It does look like their Galaxy Black, which they do sell in PLA, but
yeah.
I'm not
Well,
sure.
it could be carbon fiber PLA, because I know they were talking.
It could
about
be,
that.
yeah.
But anyway,
if it's like carbon fiber nylon, open like that would be.
No. Well, it does look kind of spongy, but.
Well, that's just it's a matte PLA with sparkles in it.
Yeah. So anyway,
So that could just be how
I got some swag from Prusa, which I'll show off later. But the cool part about this is I got to meet Mr. Prusa himself. So that was really cool. I went up to him and I'm like, "Hey, I've never had a Prusa printer before, but I think you guys are cool.
I'm never gonna buy one.
I'm never gonna buy one." No, instead we talked about printables, because I said printables I think is the gold standard for or should be the gold standard for a like 3D modeling website, because I think it's really creator first. You know, like with the Prusa meters, and he gave some really interesting insight about how they developed the Prusa meter system. He said specifically it's tailored towards the reason why you get printables points for posting makes, and that's a consistent way to get Prusa meters, because it resets every month. The reason it's done that way is because they want to incentivize people to print more models so that they give people more feedback. Because when you post a make, you're giving the creator feedback. And so the idea is that then by encouraging printer people to print more models and post makes, you're encouraging them to give creators more feedback. Which I had never even thought about, because I make the models, so I just hope that people will reach out. But the make stuff can be an incentive to people that don't even want to be makers, that just want to print models. They don't want to make their own models, which I hadn't thought about. And I don't have a slide on it, I don't think, but Thangs had a booth there. They're another 3D printing website that does models, and they talked a little bit about the updates to Thangs, and I want to say the updates to Thangs are also really, really cool. One thing that I think is the coolest is you don't have to be exclusive, which shameless plug. I'll put this at the end or in the comments or so, or it'll be on my Twitter. But I have now posted all of my models on Thangs, Thingiverse, Printables, and Colts 3D, so you can find all of my models on all of there. But hold on, let me put. You guys probably know how to find Prussia, but there's Prussia's website if you're interested in learning more about them. But going back to Thangs, they have updated the way that you publish models, where now you can post updates to your model and not have to delete and re-upload the model or edit it and remove the history. So instead you can do like version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, and so on. And people can comment and look at old models to see like what you changed. And also they added Thangs workspaces where now you can like work with a creator on a, like I could work with Kirby on a model. He and I could shoot back and forth, and then when we're done we could make it public. And it would like,
so it's like GitHub but
yes,
for 3D models.
Yeah. He said it's exactly like GitHub, and I was like, I'm sorry, I've never used GitHub, but I have a friend who does, and I was thinking of you. I was like, I bet as soon as I tell Kirby, he's gonna be like, oh shit, it's just like GitHub. Yeah. But yeah, Thangs updated to be a lot more like GitHub, which I think is cool. I don't know if I'll use it or not because a lot of my models, I don't make versions. I like publish the final model once it's done, but that's something I could do in the future. Like any projects that I'm currently working on, I could just dump the files onto Thangs and then like work on them incrementally. I kind of don't like that approach because then I have to like show my hand, if you pardon the phrase. Like I have to show you what I'm working on, but it's still a really cool feature. And also Thangs added the membership, which I think is really cool because I might be biased because I'm a designer, but I think that 3D modeling people should be paid for their work, you know? Open source is great. I totally am for like the open market, all that kind of stuff that 3D printing is all about. But I also do think that like a lot of creators do it as a hobby or for fun, like I'm doing right now. And so it takes a lot of money to invest in a hobby in terms of time and actual effort and physical money. So to kind of be able to get that back is very nice. And it also is great, I think, for the people to be able to support creators that they like so that they can make more. So anyway, that's Prussia and a little bit about Thangs. I probably should have saved that until I pulled out my Thangs thing that I got from them. Also, they just got a new app. I haven't gotten a chance to check it yet, but I definitely would like to check it in the future. So moving on, we have HueForge. I've seen videos about HueForge, but never seen it in person. It's like jaw dropping to see in person. I saw it and I was like, oh, that's a cool gimmick. Like, that's pretty cool. But this is like legitimately game changing, I think. So here's a little fun video. HueForge, when I saw it, was a lot more like this ferret, where it's like, oh, that's a cool knickknack. But over here with the chess set, like that's a really cool application of HueForge. Same with this clock face. Like these are not just like,
go ahead.
So sorry. So these are not just like like this ferret is just like a piece that you could put on your wall, but like this is accentuating an already existing design, which I think is really, really cool. It's not just like a flat picture that you like put up on your wall or something like that. This is like adding to an already existing 3D model, which I think is super cool and has a lot of different applications. Like this marbling pattern right here is breathtaking. I don't know if the picture really gives it like full justice to how cool it is in person. And this clock face, when I saw it on the desk, I didn't even realize it was 3D printed. You have to really like hold it up to realize that it's 3D printed. It's really, really cool. And it's something I'd love to tinker around with in the future. Kirby, you had something to say.
Okay, so at Midwest RepRap, they had HueForge had a booth set up,
Hmm.
and I mean, lithophanes have always been a thing for a long time. I thought at first, like the first walk around of Midwest RepRap,
Yeah.
I thought it was just lithophanes. They just did the colored thing where you use a 2D printer to print out like a colored sheet to put behind the lithophane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, those look pretty good for lithophanes. And then my second go around, I realized, oh, wait a minute, these aren't lithophanes. And this was before like any big YouTuber made a video on this or anything. Like I think there were a couple of like smaller YouTubers that made videos on it,
Yeah.
but none of like Teaching Tech hadn't made his
Teaching
video
Tech
yet
was.
or
I was gonna
anything.
say yeah. He made two. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but after Midwest Rep Rap. So yeah, it was cool to see in person how good these look, and it's hard to explain in person just like how dimensionally cool these look, especially the marble chess set, because there is like a 3D dimension to it as well, which makes it look and feel really cool.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is especially cool for this, as like a maker and somebody who has a shop, you know, you could print all of these blue ones as one print and all of the gray ones as one print. You don't have to print each tile individually, which would be really cool because of HueForge. Because each of these is a different pattern, but you could do the entire pattern in one picture with HueForge. If you were using like old methods, just like trying to make it yourself, you'd have to do each of these independently of each other, which would take like forever. I'm for the example that I'm or what I'm talking about is Make Anything, I think is his name if I remember correctly. He did a video on how to do basically how to do HueForge yourself in like a 3D in like a 3D CAD software and then export it to like something like Kira and how to print it. And basically, the way that you would do it is all of the layers would be separate STL files that you would layer on top of each other. So, like, you would print out the blue, then you would put out the gray, then you would print out the white. They would all mesh over top of each other. There wasn't this like intricate layering that HueForge can do. So it's like amazing. I think it's super cool. And if you're interested, so it's a software that you buy, um, which I think is super cool. Again, because it's promoting people to actually develop this past what it what it already is. So if you are interested, I think so on printables. I don't have the link, but on printables, QForge has samples that you can print out. I think it's like a spaceman, so you can like test whether or not you actually want to buy the software. But at first I was like, it's just kind of niche because like these are cool, like these like butterflies and the ferret and stuff. They're cool, but they're kind of niche. Like I was like, I might like make that once or twice. But stuff like the chess set or the clock face, I think has the app like could be applicable in a lot of different scenarios, and it like piqued my curiosity. I'm starting to think of things that I could like implement this into to make like nicer. What would be really cool is you could make like really nice like marble columns or stuff. I'm really interested in the marble aspect. I think it's super cool. That paired with a marble filament, oh my gosh, I feel like that would be amazing. Anyway, so that's HueForge. This one's really small, kind of like the chair, but Protopasta was demoing their electrically conductive filament. So this filament actually will conduct electricity. I don't know too much about the actual technology at play. My guess is that it has bits of metal or something inside of it to actually work. I don't know how expensive it is. I don't know what the requirements are for the printer because I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody at the booth. They were kind of busy trying to sell their filament that they had there, so they didn't really stop to talk too much. But if you're interested, I posted Protopasta's website, and you can check out a little bit more. I also don't know if this is like a on the market product or it's one that they're just demoing. I don't
You
know
can
really much about it.
you can buy it right now on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Uh, it's kind of pricey. It is $50 for a spool.
Yeah, but it's a lot more niche.
Um,
You wouldn't use it for a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
it's more. Yeah, you wouldn't print like normal stuff out of it. Uh, It's a PLA blend, so
Oh,
I
so
believe you just need something that can print PLA. But it
yeah.
might be a bit abrasive, so you want to make sure you have like a hardened steel nozzle and everything.
Or you're just willing to replace the brass nozzle when it wears
Yeah,
out.
exactly, exactly.
um,
Especially since you're not going to be printing anything like huge with it. You'd be maybe like printing a flat surface.
yeah, what would be kind of cool, not to keep going back to the Hue Forge example, but what would be kind of cool is to maybe you could make like a light up chess set or something like that, and you could have the actual like these black lines right here carry the charge from the battery. You know, like you could have like different components of it print in a separate piece and act as a wire. I think that would be really cool for like designing. I'd love to do that in the future, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now that I could use that for. Um, but yeah, that would be really cool. You could also maybe do something with touch sensitive, but I don't know. I'd have to like really look into it to see. Um, you could make switches too, like 3D printed switches. That
You
would be
could.
really cool. That's actually cool. I like that idea. So, nothing too like brand new, but Polymaker, they make some good filaments. I made a video on one of their filaments, which actually, funnily enough, I'll show off in this video here. But they had all of their filaments, like quite literally every filament that's on their website, they had a little guy of. And if you took one of the little guys and you put it on the amiibo stand, it would show you what filament it was. I was like, this is so cool. I was like a kid. You can kind of see here. I'm like straining to reach because it was like really crowded at this time when I was like looking at this. I wanted to go and like try a bunch of different ones. I was like a kid and like looking at the Skylanders display at Toys R Us. But but yeah, I've actually demoed this exact filament, Poly Smooth Green. Um and I bought it so long ago that mine's in a plastic spool, but they don't do plastic spools anymore. They only do cardboard spools. Um, and I mentioned that to the guy that was working the booth, and he's like, "Ah, you're an old timer." Like, come on, man, come on, man, come on, bro. The thing that I remember Polysmooth being like really big for is their clear PLA could be smoothed. Like, well, the whole thing is that it can be smoothed with acetone, like ABS. But the specific advantage of Polysmooth's clear is that you can kind of see it down here. You could make glass-like structures, which was really, really cool. I don't know if any other companies have like ripped off the idea and done anything like it. Um, I'm personally more interested in just printing with PTG at hot temperatures now that I can do that. But at the time, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like game changing." But it's really expensive, or at least it was when I was. It was like $40 or $50 a roll.
Yeah, it's still like $40.
Yeah, which is kind of expensive, but
And
again,
then
it's for a
if you want to
niche.
do it properly, you got to get the post processing, and it uses IPA,
Oh, it uses
isopropyl
IPA.
alcohol.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Well, that's even cheaper
So
than
yeah,
acetone.
so yeah, I was gonna say it. ABS uses, I think you said acetone.
Acetone, yeah.
Yeah. But
But
it's a
this uses
different. You need a
IPA.
different solvent to actually dissolve uh the stuff.
The
But
PLA.
it's yeah, it's a cool technology.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm not gonna say like don't do it. I just
It's pretty pricey to get
it's pretty
into it. Yeah,
pricey.
though.
Which is okay. I mean, a lot of these filaments are specialty filaments. You're not going to be like doing a lot of stuff with it, so they don't need to be like $20 a roll. You know, that's not what I'm saying. So, Polymaker really cool. I think I'll put the link to their thing in the chat here. Chat going goofy. It's just all links. So here is I'm gonna go like total like fanboy mode for a little bit, but the Creality V3, oh my god, this looks like it's going to be the greatest 3D printer I've ever seen. Um, I don't want to give like too ringing of an endorsement because I think a printer needs a little bit of time to like people to see like what's good and bad about it, mainly on how the hardware interacts with the firmware. but the hardware is like so impressive. So the SE has direct drive sprite extruder. You can see that the bed is way more like tightly designed. It has dual Z. Now they're not dual like drive, as Kirby will probably point out as I'm talking. They are um, both ran off of they're both ran off of one motor, right?
Yeah, it's one motor tied together with a belt, which is still better than just one side.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I would argue with a bigger printer like the CR10, for instance, having two motors is more impactful because you have a larger area. But something like an Ender, just having that stability, I think, is enough because it's just not big enough of a printer. I don't think for it to really matter that it's not being led by a stepper motor. Another thing is the X carriage. Um, the X carriage motor, sorry, is right here. So it's tucked away a little bit, so it's more of a confined printer, which is nice. And again, I'm a real big fan of the all-in-one like bottom here because I think that it makes the printer more stable. It doesn't wobble. Also, the 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 bed is on linear. These aren't linear rails. They're
I think
rods.
you call them linear rods.
Linear rods, something like that. Yeah, they're on linear rods. We'll just call them for right now. It is still a pulley system, but the pulley isn't taking the brunt of the force. It's the rods, which I think can have the possibility to make these last longer. The belts. Now you move over, so that's cool enough. And by the way, this is $200. Oh, it also has auto bed leveling and um, does it have Z tramming or no? I feel
Uh,
like it has something
like
else.
so it's got a CR touch, which is Creality's version of a BL touch
Yes, yeah.
for auto bed leveling, and then it has a strain gauge in the bed, so it can do
Oh yeah.
automatic Z offset
That
calibration.
that that just that alone is enough for me to want to buy this printer because setting the Z offset is awful. Pardon my French, it's fucking awful. I hate it.
Yeah, especially for somebody who's new to printing,
Oh
that
yeah.
is the hardest thing to try to explain to somebody how to level their bed and then how to set the correct Z offset.
Because everybody
It
always
is
says use the paper method, but the paper method
the
doesn't
paper
work.
method doesn't work. No,
No, you need to get like a feeler gauge, and like who's gonna go and like know how to buy a
yeah.
feeler gauge, you know? So anyway, this is an amazingly impressive machine. I want to buy this one instead though. So this is the KE. This is like the step up from it, which the difference is rather than the sprite extruder, it uses the extruder setup from the K1 style printers, which I think is really cool. So like the fan's nicer. Um, and I
Well,
believe
the extruder itself is the same. The hot end is the K1.
yeah, yeah. It's
It's still
also
the
all
it's still
metal.
technically the yeah,
It's
exactly. It's
it's
still technically the sprite extruder, which is still a very good extruder.
yeah.
Um, the K1 I think has some planetary gears or something going on, so it's got more torque. But the sprite extruder is still very good. It just has the all metal hot end with the
Yes.
extra part cooling from the K1,
Yep, which is
which is awesome.
amazing. And
Mhm.
it has Z rails instead of a belt. Or sorry, the X axis is on a linear rails instead of on a belt, which is amazing because then you don't have to worry about the belt. I hear all the people everywhere talk about how great linear rails are, and I think they're not as widely adopted in bed slingers. But
It's because
oh my gosh!
they're pricey, but
And
yeah.
then it's not that this is a huge deal for 3D printing nerds, but for the average consumer, it's a touchscreen, which is a pretty big deal for the average consumer. They like the touchscreen. I heard somebody say this. I think it might have been my mom, but she said the knob is good for an engineer because engineer brain goes, the knob, I spin it, it gets me to the menu. But the average consumer is like, iPad. I understand how this works. So I totally get how that's not like a deal. It's not like a make or break thing for me personally, and I don't think Kirby, you really care about it being a touchscreen.
Oh, I take the screens off of all my printers.
So again, but like for the average consumer, that's amazing having a
Yeah,
touchscreen.
for sure.
And here's also they want to point out that it has an onboard Creality Cloud, so like their version of Clipper, already installed. You don't have to buy the Creality Sonic Pad or whatever the name is, um, which is like Bamboo's new printer and the Anchor Make new printer. A lot of printers are moving towards being having their own onboard cloud because as somebody who switched over to Octoprint, I can't imagine printing without it anymore. It is like it is such a like quality of life change. So I am 100% here for it. I can't speak to Creality Cloud. I know Kirby's not a huge fan of it, but one thing I will say before I let
They
Kirby
did.
talk, Kirby
Okay.
is a huge like in the weeds 3D printing nerd. So for the average consumer, I think it might be pretty good. For like somebody who likes to have a lot of control over it, like a really in the weeds 3D printing nerd, it might be a detriment that it comes with this Creality Cloud because then you can't install your own. You might be able to install your own instance of Clipper. I really don't know how Clipper works, so I can't tell you. But for me, it saves me so much hassle because I don't have to go and buy another Raspberry Pi to get another Octoprint and get all that running. It's just like already running, which will I think will be really great. I want to get my hands on it. I want to work with it, but I'm waiting on some other like YouTubers, content creators to like send out their reviews. Also, I still haven't sent out my review for the V2 yet, because I've been working on that for a couple of months, probably 6 months now. So anyway, I'll let you give your opinions on it.
So the whole Creality Cloud and their own implementation of Clipper, I'm more okay with it now because they have open sourced their version. The
Hey,
main
shout
issue
out.
was because the K1 and everything came out with Clipper, but it wasn't open source, even
Mhm.
though they're using open source software. So via the license, they were supposed to release it. It is released now. So it is open source. You can view the source and everything. So I'm much more okay with it now. And like you said, you can just because the way that Clipper works is you have the main board of the printer basically just acts as a slave drive kind of for the single board computer, so like a Raspberry Pi or a Raspberry Pi clone,
So basically, for
most likely a
anybody
clone.
that's not a coder, the main printer board just receives information from
It's
the
yeah,
Raspberry
it's
Pi.
just passing on the info from the Raspberry Pi to the motors basically.
Yeah.
But because they release their open source stuff and because they're just using like a generic off the shelf Raspberry Pi clone, you can install your own version of Clipper and just do it that way. That's if I were to get one of these, which I think I am, I'm leaning towards getting these for like actual farm use because the price is right.
Oh yeah, I can't
Um
wait to tell
I
about the
I would
price.
still put my own version of Clipper on it just so that I have a little bit more freedom in all the settings that I can mess with.
Yeah, and
But
I
I
think
still
that's
think the base printer for the average user is going to be more than good enough to get you up and running and have a very good experience.
that's the reason why I always recommend Creality printers is because they're good to get you off the ground, but they don't limit you if you want to tinker. Like for me, I started with the CR10. Probably a bad example because I bought a new printer rather than upgrading it. But like with my V2, um, I upgraded to Capricorn Tube. That's not a huge upgrade, but like I just recently upgraded to the Sprite extruder, and my Ender 3 Pro I upgraded the board as well. So like you can go in and you can change big parts of the printer, and easy to they're easier to replace than in other printers. Um, my experience is with more proprietary stuff, so that's why I tend to hate proprietary stuff, which I'll talk about in 2 slides from now. Um, but yeah, I have been gushing about. Oh, price $280, which is fucking crazy. So, back to RepRap, and I'm done. Oh, also, we forgot this has a runout sensor. It also has a filament runout sensor. All of that, $280. So for $80 more, you get linear rails, the better hot end, so all metal, runout sensor, and Creality Cloud. It's like, dog, there's like no. Why would you? Why would you buy the SE? You gotta go with the KE. It's like the KE is like the goat of entry printers. I would even argue it's the goat of mid-range printers too. I think the only printers, in my opinion, that beat it are Core XY, but Core XY are like
They're
double
quite
the
a bit more
price.
expensive. Yeah.
Like the bamboo, the lower end bamboo is 500, right, or around 500. So like you could get two of the the KEs
Well,
for the price
entry
of
level
one.
bamboo is 600. The Creality
Jesus.
K1, which is their XY
Which is a
Core XY
beautiful
printer,
machine as well.
starts at 500.
Yeah, the K1 Max
Even
is
even
probably
the
what I would go with.
K1, even the K1 is still better priced than the bamboo printer. I know what you're going to talk about that in a bit, but
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about
even the
bamboo.
K1 makes a lot more sense than
If
a
bamboo has
printer.
one hater, it's me. I don't know if this is gonna like ruin any brand deals for the future, but I'm not a huge fan of bamboo. Anyway, talking about RepRap. So I walked up to the booth and I was showing Mike the printers, and I was like explaining. I was like, "This is the printer that." So when it dropped, I got on voice chat with Mike, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude! This printer, it's like fucking amazing. It has like all these features." He's like, "I don't understand what any of that means, Ace. Like, doesn't make any sense to me." So I like at the conference, I was like, or at RepRap, I was like, "Here's what this is. Here's what this is." And as I'm explaining it to Mike, there's a guy standing next to me who's like asking one of the Creality workers. And the Creality worker just turns to me and goes, "Why don't you just tell him?" And I was like, "What? Wait, what? You want me to like tell him what the printers are?" And he goes, "Yeah, honestly, you seem to have more information than I do about this." And so I sat there and explained to this guy how the V3 KE and SE differ from each other. Like I was like, I should be getting paid by Creality for being this much of a shill. Um, and so I looked at the worker after I was done explaining it, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys have any like coupons for people being here?" Because like a lot of, if you noticed in the Polymaker video, I don't want this to. They had a 20% off code for people that were there, and a lot of places had that. I'll get to that when I get to my swag bag later. But I was just like, please, please, even like 10% off would be like, I will buy one today. And he was like, no, but once they come to Micro Center, they'll be more accessible. So I was like, okay. Which Micro Center did have a booth there, which I'll talk about later because I didn't get any videos or pictures of it because it was just, they were just showing off their filaments, which I show off like every other week on my channel. So it's nothing too new. So anyway, also the K1 and the K1 Max are beautiful. If I don't want to keep buying more printers, but I want one really bad just because I've heard that they are really excellent printers and they also look really beautiful. Like the lights in it, oh my gosh. It's like, oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. I'm a huge Creality show. I cannot stop talking about how great Creality is. So that's Creality. Up next, this company, I'd heard about them before because they actually, some of their sponsors I'm familiar with. So I wanted to talk to them and be like, hey, I know these sponsors. I work with them. And they're like, oh, no way, we work with them too. So that was cool. But they make a recycled PET. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. So I don't know their actual percentages. You could look that up on their website if you're very interested. Because they say 100%, but it's PTG, so they have to add glycol. So that's not recycled. You can't recycle glycol. So it's kind of like up in the air how much their actual percentages are as an environmental engineer. And as a guy who's really into recycling, in particularly in 3D printing, this stuff is really cool. I am not saying that they're frauds in any way. I'm just saying that like those numbers get funky when you start reporting 100%. Anyway, they make highly recycled PTG, and the cool part about this, first off, I want to say it looks beautiful. It looks amazing when you like look at it. He said, I think this one was 1 millimeter that they printed at. It was a pretty wide extrusion width, but the stuff that they had there was really cool looking. I wanted to buy a roll of filament from them to test out recycled PET, but it's $35 a roll, and I was like, oh my gosh! Like the rolls that I
They
buy are like 15.
they
So
do sell half rolls, 500 grams. If you want to try and get into it, they're only $16.
and if you, as an incentive to go to RepRap in the future, they collect old plastic spools and reuse them to make new ones. And I'm pretty sure they give you a discount or a prize if you bring in 3 or more recycled rolls. If I'd known about that, I could have taken some of mine there. So I definitely will be holding on to some of my rolls that some of the rolls don't come apart, so you can't put like spoolless onto them. And those ones, I was like, what do I do with these? Those I might take to this company because they collect those to make new rolls. And then here is, I know this isn't anything special. It's just a benchy with no walls or top or bottom layers, but it's still really cool. And that's their pet granulate, and it's a virgin nurdle form, which I thought was really cool. They seemed really nice. The guy at the booth kept getting pulled away to talk to other people, so I didn't get to pick his brain too much about it. But the thing that I wanted to point out about this filament that he wanted to point out is one of the disadvantages of PET compared to like PLA is the temperature. PET traditionally requires like 240 to like 280 degrees or 270 degrees Celsius, which is too hot for most printers. You need an all metal hot end to print with that, and so it can be kind of like not accessible for people. Also, it takes on water like crazy. It's crazy hygroscopic. He said in terms of the hygroscopic, it's worse because it's recycled. It absorbs way more moisture, so that it doesn't fix, but it can print at, he said it prints like PLA. So it can print at temps of like 205, which, if true, that is amazing. So I would love to try out this filament in the future. But again, it's a little, I haven't printed with PET yet, and I didn't want to like go crazy and buy a ton of rolls of PET and then go, I hate printing with PET, and then like never want, like have all these rolls I can't use. So I tried to like temper my expectations. So that's why I didn't buy a roll of Greengate, but I might buy them in the future, and I might take some recycled rolls and see if I can get something in the future. So this is a cool company to look out for. Their stuff is in the, I posted a link to their stuff in the chat. So next, this is going to be the only thing that I talk about that I have negative opinions of, which is why I didn't include their link, because I'm not affiliated with them, and I don't want to give them free publicity because I don't endorse their product. I think it's bad. A lot of users, or a lot of content creators have made videos about Bamboo. I really don't like Bamboo. I don't like how they take a lot of stuff from the 3D printing world and then make it closed source. I think that their promises about, so this is the their A1 with the mini AMS system, and I was super excited for this because one of the things that the AMS did was it made multicolor printing a lot more accessible, because before the AMS you'd have to get a unit like the palette, which the palette itself was like $700 or $800 or something like that. Now it might be a little bit cheaper, but the company that makes the palette actually has stopped investing in the palette and has moved to something else, which I will talk about later when I talk about other 3D printing stuff. But anyway, back to Bamboo. So their AMS unit, I think, is very impressive. The fact that it can run 4 spools at a time and do native multicolor. That's very cool. I applaud them for making that. It took a lot of work. But when they promised that they were going to do 3D printing for everyone, a lot of people thought, well, this is going to be like an AMS unit that you can use on any printer. However, that is not the case. It's not even an AMS unit that can be used on every Bamboo printer. This AMS unit can only be used on A1 style printers, which currently there only exists one A1 style printer, and that is this one that you're seeing here. The reason that I structured the PowerPoint with Creality and then Bamboo is because I think that the V3 coming out shows that the A1 is like a generation behind. Because I just think that Bamboo should have stuck to Core XY. Because this printer is like a mid-level printer at high-level cost. So for reference, just this printer is like what, $3? Do you know, Kirby? It's like between $300 and $400.
It is 300 even.
300 even. So it's 300 even just for the printer, not for multicolored printing, just for the printer itself. And I don't know the specs offhand, whether it's direct drive, whether it's all metal. I don't think it's all metal.
It is direct drive. It is all metal.
It is? Okay. But again, it's a bed slinger.
It's proprietary software.
It's proprietary software. It's a bed slinger. And it's smaller
than the Enders.
And it is super small. So I have a Monoprice Mini. It's like close to the Monoprice Mini in size, which is crazy because that machine when it came out was a it's not Core XY, but it's not a bed slinger, and it was 180 when it came out. So I think that this... Oh, also, you're locked into their ecosystem. So it does come with, like, Bamboo's cloud, but you have to use it. You have no option to upgrade in the future. The AMS unit the Mini is 300. You can't buy it separately now. You can only buy it in the combo pack. But, like, my point is... So I talked to the guy, and you can hear it in here, but I don't want to share any audio because, like, you can hear it's like crazy loud. But the guy at the booth was like, "Yeah, we didn't want to develop an AMS unit that worked on any printer because we don't want to have to field questions about printers that are outside of our company." And I'm like, "Then don't compete in that space. Don't say you're going to make a unit for everyone if you're not. You're making a unit just for yourself. You're not helping the industry in any way, shape, or form." You know, what he said is, yeah, some people have figured out how, like, have been working on reverse engineering the AMS, but we don't support that. That is such a shitty thing to say at a convention where everything is built off of the back of open source. Like, it bothers the whole reason
RepRap exists.
Yes, RepRap there were 3D printers before because everything was open source, because anybody could tinker with it. And for Bamboo to then come in and say, we're going to make all these printers and take all of the things that RepRap and 3D printing and all this stuff built and then make it our proprietary, you can't rip it off software, it disgusts me. So I will, unless they give me like a crazy brand deal and I lose all of my credibility, I cannot in good faith recommend a Bamboo printer. Maybe their Core XY ones are good, like the Bamboo Labs. What's the name of the big one? It's the
P1P or the
P1P or the other ones. I've heard they're really good machines.
The A1S is a small one.
And the slicing software you can learn how to use, but all of the other stuff just bothers me. Because when I started printing, I bought a DaVinci, it was a XYZ printing DaVinci 2.0 Duo. I hated the shit out of that printer because it was cartridge based. Everything was, and because it was cartridge based, They could charge whatever price they wanted for it, and you couldn't choose what you wanted. You had to buy their filament, and you had to buy at their prices. And if you didn't like their slicing software, too bad. If you tried to reflash the firmware, it would brick your printer. It's like, and right now, Bamboo says we won't do that. That's not what we're going to do. The AMS tracks the chips on the filament, quote unquote, just so that they can manage their own filament. But that's a dangerous slope, in my opinion, because Bamboo could one day say, we don't feel like dealing with we don't feel like optimizing the AMS for any other brands besides our brand, and then make it in the firmware so that the Bamboo only takes Bamboo filament. And I understand that they've said they won't do that, but it's a company, and companies survive off making money. So if one day they're not making enough money, say the AMS isn't doing as well as they hoped, and people aren't buying it enough, they could flick that switch, and then everybody that has an AMS automatically has to use their filament.
My biggest gripe with it is it's the same thing. Yeah, they could just one day decide to not let you use other filament just by updating the firmware, and the firmware updates automatically. So good luck stopping that.
It's not like you can choose to upgrade or not.
If they really are never going to use it for something like that, then why not open the standard and let other people put their own NFC tags on their filament? So, hey, if I put a spool of Polymaker on and they have a tag on it, it'll read it as Polymaker, whatever, like red Polymaker, and it
because that would entice companies to work with Bamboo, because then you could say, oh, well,
they wouldn't even need to work with Bamboo. They just store everything on the NFC tag.
Well, no, what I'm saying is standard. Like then Polymaker could work with an AMS and optimize, like, say like you buy the Polysmooth green like this, they could tinker around and be like, here's the optimal AMS settings for this filament. But because they're closed, you can't do that. So honestly, this might be a hot take. I'm waiting for Creality to invent their version of the AMS. Honestly, or another company, maybe Prusa.
Or even if just Creality, because
Prusa is also in a good place to do that too.
Prusa already have their own it's called an MMU.
Oh, they do.
And that is fully open source, and there's a fork of that project called the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder. I think I've told you about this before.
You talk about that like every stream.
Every single stream.
Every time we talk about multicolor.
Those are both fully open source, so I would not be surprised if eventually, I'm sure they already have engineers working on it, but eventually if Creality release their own version of it, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, especially so. The cool thing about this unit is that it's standalone. I've never worked with the AMS, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty bulky, and you have to have it. So most people put it on top of their printer. I don't know enough about the AMS because I don't like Bamboo, and so I don't want to support them. But yeah, it's a really cool idea. It's really well engineered, but what it does for the space is why I can't recommend it, and why I would recommend against it, actually. Because I think that if we, as consumers, if we tell companies, keep operating like this, they will. And then we're going to lose a lot of the magic that 3D printing has. Actually, I normally agree with what's the Joel from 3D Printing Nerd? Or the 3D Printing Nerd? I normally agree with a lot of the stuff that he says. But his take on the Bamboo is why I am talking about how much I dislike Bamboo right now, because all of his points are exactly what I think I'm warning against. He said he totally understands what Bamboo's saying, where like it's frustrating for them to have to deal with tickets for printers outside of their ecosystem, and so they're trying to make it easier for them to handle tickets. which I totally understand. And he said, you know, you have plumbers that deal with your toilets, but you don't yell at the toilet company that you have to buy a toilet. And to that I'd say, I don't know of a single person that doesn't complain about their appliances. Like, everybody is like, why is it so hard to repair my dishwasher? Why is it so hard to repair my laundry machines? I know so many people who complain about how awful it is to repair those. Why would we want 3D printing to go that way? Because we're right now at a place where you can pick up something like a Creality printer. The V3 is probably a bad example because it has everything you would want. But like, you could pick up an Ender 3 Pro and make it a completely different printer. Like, you could add like extra aluminum extrusion to make it like a boxed printer, like the V5 or whatever the name of the printer is, the Ender 5. You could have it be direct drive, so it's like the S1. You could like do all this shit with it, and that is well documented online, backed up by the company. Like, they won't shut down your printer if you do it, and it's at an affordable price. Why the hell would we want to go to a printer? This printer right here, again, it can print in multicolor, but it's $600 or close to $600 after taxes and shipping, and it's just it's just like comparable with printers that are out now. The only advantage is that it can print in color, which is a big deal, but I feel like the negatives outweigh the positive of being able to print multicolor. I don't know. I really don't like Bamboo's whole business strategy, so it kind of comes out in the way that I feel about the whole company. So anyway, back to something really positive. This is why I followed the Bamboo up with something really positive. So recently I demoed a spool of CookieCAD filament. CookieCAD has been a company that hasn't been on my radar for very long, but recently I started watching a YouTube channel called Filament Stories. The woman, so it's a whole family that runs the channel, but the main like face of it is the mom of the family, and she makes wonderful videos. She like demos filament all the time, and that's what kind of inspired me to start demoing the filament that I use, because it is kind of cool to show off various filaments. But CookieCAD in particular, I think, has a lot of really great colors. And I was talking with my mom and my sister about this, but they said that 3D printing is kind of a man's hobby, and so a lot of the colors reflect that. Like, you have like Prusa orange is just orange, and like a lot of people print in like green, blue, black, like standard colors. But CookieCAD does like all these crazy blends. They do silks, they do like all this stuff. It's beautiful, beautiful
a lot
filament.
Of pastel colors.
Pastels, yeah, that's the name I was looking for. But they also do like a lot of glitter filament. Like, they were showing off this orange, red, and pink, like fiery glitter color, which I thought was really cool. And it had this, they printed it with this dragon. And they had like all these different types of filament. They had this one reminds me of this is gonna be a deep cut, but did you ever have oh gosh, Go-Gurt back in the day?
Dude, I still buy Go-Gurt.
So this color back here reminds me of Go-Gurt, because they have that like blue purple Go-Gurt color.
Yeah, the blue Go-Gurt.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to the people from CookieCAD very much, because they were about to go to a talk, so, and they were also wrangling their kids, so I didn't get to talk with them very much. But their filament is really beautiful, and I've showed off Gigi loves their filament, so she's been buying it at Micro Center when we go. I wish I'm kicking myself. I don't have a picture of it, but I got to meet the main creator from Filament Stories. She was wonderful. Like, I was like awestruck when I talked to her. I was there just like my dinky little YouTube channel. I'm just starting out. I've got 25 subscribers, And I go up to her and I'm like, hey, like you inspired some of my videos. She's like, what's your channel handle? And she pulls out her phone and she goes to YouTube and she goes to follow me. And I'm like, here's my I had made business cards which I can show off. Um, I'll show off when I switch back to the live stream or the camera view. But um, she like instantly followed me on YouTube, which Film and Stories. If you're watching this, I just want to say you're a phenomenal person, and I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much for everything you do. Um, and I'll also show off some of the swag I got from her booth later when I go to like the camera view. But just such a genuine person. And it really meant a lot to me, especially as a small creator just starting out. Um, I don't know if you feel this way, Kirby. I'm gonna be a little like sentimental before we get into the last thing on the PowerPoint, but um, sometimes I feel kind of outpaced because people like Filament Stories or Teaching Tech or Make Anything, they have all these like huge fan bases, and I want to do big projects, but I worry that nobody's gonna see it, nobody's gonna care, any of that. So to have somebody that has multiple thousand subscribers talk to you on the same level, oh my god, it just made me feel so good. I felt so validated in what I was doing, and it meant a lot to me because I'm not saying we're equal, because her content is way more well produced than mine is, and she's been doing this for a lot longer than I have. But we're kind of all in the same boat, We're all 3D printers, we're all makers. So there's not like a I'm better than you mentality at RepRap, and I felt that was best exemplified by Filament Stories and then my next person I'm going to talk about. So yeah, again, Filament Stories, if you're watching, thank you so much. And if any of you guys are watching and you met me at the convention, thank you so much, because it means the world. Even if you're just subscribing and bopping in for a little bit, even if you subscribe and you don't watch, it means a lot just to have people watching. Do you have any additions or subtractions to what I said there, Kirby? You want to get sentimental too?
I didn't go to East Coast RepRap, so.
Well, I could save that for the conclusion. I just meant in terms of like content creation. But I wish I had a picture with her, but she was like, I got to get to this conference, because she and the people from Cookie CAD were doing a thing with Clock Spring, and they were talking about I wanted to go to it, but I was like, I didn't really feel like sitting down and listening to a talk, because I kind of wanted to go and talk to people and walk around the convention. I'm not really a big panel guy. You got to get me in the mood to go to a panel at a con, which is weird because at other conventions I'll love to sit down at a panel, but like for hobby stuff, I'm just like too excited. I want to be out on the floor talking to people, doing that type of stuff. But I really wanted to get a picture and I totally forgot, and I am kicking myself for not getting a picture with her. But anyway, this moves me into the thing I'm the most excited about. So this is probably going to take me a while because I am super fucking excited about this. So last year, or maybe 2 years ago, I saw a video by the 3D Printing Nerd where he talked to the people from Recreator. That's this booth right here. And I said, holy shit, this is exactly what I want to do. I have to go to RepRap. I have to meet them. Because, so I think I've mentioned it a couple of times on stream, I'm an environmental engineer. The reason I became an environmental engineer or became interested in environmental engineering is because when I first started printing, I said, it sucks that I make so much waste when I print. I would love to find a way to recycle that waste and or make filament out of recycled plastic. It's like my pipe dream. It's what motivates me in 3D printing. It's why I often don't care about like the minutia of 3D printing stuff like Kirby does, like the technical stuff, because I'm more interested in could I get recycled filament? That's why I talked at length about Greengate, because I think they're really cool. But I saw the Recreator, I was like, holy shit, I want to do this. This is something I could do. And so I guess I'll talk about the booth first, and then this will be a great segue into. You know what? I'll come back to this. So yeah, I got to talk with the head from. Let me pull up the Discord real quick to make sure I get his name right. So this is Josh from JRT3D. He is the head of the Recreator program. Oh my gosh, he is just a phenomenal guy. I talked to him quite literally for a half an hour, and I know this is gonna sound like Ace. Every time you say this, you say the same thing. But I would have talked to him longer, but he had to go to a convention, or he had to go to a panel. And you can actually see the panel on YouTube, which I haven't gotten a chance to look at yet because this week has been crazy busy catching up on all the work I missed this weekend being at RepRap. But also being sick. I think you can hear I'm still nursing off the cold that I've had. But holy shit, just a genuine guy. And he was like, he and I talked about like all the minutia of like recycling. I'm developing the Ace Gamer lore with this stream, but I used to work for a recycling plant, and we talked about polymer blends and all of that, which was just amazing to do. The main thing that we talked about is the fact that the way that the Recreator works is it's called a pultrusion device, where you take a plastic bottle and you spiralize it, where you cut it into a thin strip by cutting it along lengthwise. His first attempt was to use pellets like this, where there's an auger that spins and forces pellets into the extruder. This is how traditional manufacturing is done. And actually, industrial printers, like Kirby and I were talking about at the beginning of this presentation, that print stuff like this chair, they already use this kind of technology, the auger system. 3D printing is actually unique in using filament. Filament is not a traditional manufacturing process. Most plastic manufacturing methods utilize pellets, which you could see in this. This is what virgin material will often look like. These are called nurdles, if you're interested. But anyway, so this failed. He was like, it's just too difficult, it's not working. But you can't make it cheap enough to make it worth it for like somebody printing on an ender to use. So that's what led to the Recreator. Other people had done pultrusion before, namely in other countries. I believe there's a guy in Russia who was really big in the pultrusion space for a while. But the Recreator was the first like open source and the easiest to make, because it uses just a stock Ender 3 Pro, which again reinforces my thing about why I meat ride Creality so hard, because you could turn an Ender into a thing that turns plastic into filament. It's fucking so cool. Anyway, so the Recreator works by, it's really simple. That gear that I just put my hand on, it spins and winds the filament as it comes out of the hot end. The hot end here will take the cut filament and wrap it around itself in the nozzle, turning it into that spherical shape of the diameter of a roll of filament. I think it's just so cool. And so on Tuesday I said I didn't want to spoil it, but I'm building one of these, or trying to build one of these, and I've been printing the parts for it in PETG to get ready to print with PET. because this is PET, not PTG. The G is a glycol modifier that manufacturers add to make it easier to print with, but injection molding and other traditional manufacturing methods don't need that glycol modifier because it doesn't need to be more moldable. So that's the Recreator. I'm starting to lose my voice. I don't know if you can hear. I'm going to try and drink a little bit of water while you... There it is. You can see there's a great demo of how it works. It takes the filament, or the cut bottle, and it shapes it into a roll of filament like that, which I think is really cool. This leads me into why I was so excited about going. So as you guys know, I'm pretty new into content creation. Still pretty small. But I followed their Discord, and they tweeted, or Josh tweeted, that he was making swag bags for creators. And I was like, well, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I text him and he's like, or I respond to him and he's like, no, you're not a big enough creator. I'm not giving you anything. But I don't know if you guys follow my Twitter. Hopefully you do. But I reached out to him and he was like, whoop, that's live chat. That's not the right thing. And he was like, absolutely, I'll give you a swag bag. And I was like pissing myself. I was so excited. I was like, holy shit! Not only was this the reason I wanted to go to RepRap, was to see the Recreator, because it's been my dream since I started printing to print with recycled material. But this guy was like, yeah, you're a creator. I want you to make a video. So, I've like, it's been so hard not to talk about this on stream or tweet about it or something. I kind of spoiled it by tweeting a picture with this in the bag at the top. I tried to like kind of like hide it in there. But I have just been like so excited about this because it's like, oh my god, I don't know. I always thought, I was like, when people like get so nervous talking to like celebrities, I'm like, come on, they're just people. But I was like so excited to like see the guys, the people from Recreator, and like I was just like fanboying so hard. I was like, I'm so excited, like this is the reason I came. And he's like, oh, that's so cool, like it means so much. So I can't shill the Recreator enough. I'm gonna try, but I can't shill them enough. But yeah, I am just like so fucking excited about the Recreator. Here is a link to their website. If you join their Discord, I actually am in the Discord as well, so you can say hi to me. If I can do anything, if you check out anything from this video, please check out the people from Recreator, because this project is phenomenally cool. And coupled with me talking about how... So, one of the two biggest things that I mentioned that are, like, hard for beginners about PET are it takes on water really easily, and it requires an all-metal hot end. But this is why I highlighted the new Ender 3v3, because it comes standard with an all-metal hot end for $280. So, for, like, pretty cheap, as in terms of printers go, you can start printing with something like this. So I guess this is kind of a big announcement for the channel, and now I'm gonna have to hold myself to this. It's been difficult because I don't have a lot of time since I'm still in school right now, but I plan to make a video. This will be my contribution to the Recreator ecosystem, but I plan to make a video on several videos on the Recreator, but I'd like to make a video on 3D printing PET for newbies, because a lot of the printing nerds that make videos, they're like, oh, it's similar to PTG. But PTG, I think, is not a widely printed material just quite yet. it's getting there, and I think the industry as a whole is moving away from PLA and towards PTG as all metal hot ends are becoming a lot more standard. But still, it's not the preferred material by a lot of creators. So I'm hoping that'll be my contribution to the space. So, you have anything to add there, Kirby, about the Recreator?
I
I feel like I've just
think
been
it's cool.
talking. I feel like I've been
No, you're
talking
good.
too much, but it is
You're
my
good, you're
video,
good.
to be fair. So
Exactly.
So, overall, oh, also I forgot to mention, I made this new. This is my channel mascot, the Buddy, which I have a little one on my desk here. A little one, and where's the big one? Oh, it's all the way over on my desk. Hold on, I'll go grab it real quick. So its antenna fell out at RepRap, so you got a part in the fact that its antenna is gone. But these are the. I should have saved this for the end of the stream, but I'm just so excited about all of this. I can't hold it in anymore. But this is my channel mascot, the Buddy. I want to print like a whole army of these guys, and the lore is that they like help me out as I do my various things as a gamer. But anyway, this is Buddy Model 1, and the cool part is his backpack on the back. You screw it off, and then that's how he charges. See, it's his charging port. He like can screw into the charging port, but it uses a cap. So, I think this is super cool. I'm so excited about it. But I got a bunch of footage of the Buddies at RepRap, which was really cool. I'm gonna pan back. So, overall, RepRap Festival was amazing. Can't talk enough good about it. I guess. Oh, there it is. I could talk about some of the like fun stuff. So, a lot of people weren't in cosplay. Kirby warned me about that, and I'm glad I didn't cosplay or do anything because there was like nobody in cosplay. A lot of kids were in cosplay though. Like this kid, Mike and I kept running into him, and it was a kid wearing an entire Glam Rock Freddy costume, and we could not figure out why, but we were like based Glam Rock Freddy based. And I went by the Soval booth, and they had this big wheel to spin. I was like, oh, I want to spin the wheel, and they're like, sorry, the wheel's only for kids. And I was like, how do you know I'm not a kid? And he's like, well, like, just look at you. And I was like, okay, thanks. And I leaned over to Mike, and I was like, maybe if I was wearing a Glam Rock Freddy costume, he would have let me spin it.
I still think a really funny bit would be to show up at like a convention that's not really normally known for cosplay in full cosplay.
It would be pretty funny.
I like the idea of doing a tech priest from Warhammer 40k and walking around Midwest RepRap or Vintage Computer Festival.
Well, if you need help 3D printing and cosplaying, let me know, because I have not like a lot of experience, but I have a little bit. So yeah, I thought one of my sweeping shots actually had. Oh, so you know how you tweeted at me that guy Boba Fett? It was like dressed up as he was dressed up as a Mandalorian. There he is. Oh shoot, I'm covering it. There he is. You see him down there? That guy. You sent me a tweet of him. It's the Mandalorian guy.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
And then also,
your stream was catching up still, so
I was waiting
for you to pan over.
My bad. Also over here, this is Filament Stories booth, and they're like with Clock Spring and Gloop and Cookie Cad. You can actually, man, I keep blocking it.
Oh, did you see Mitch?
Mitch? No.
Did you see Mitch?
Well, I don't know. Maybe
the guy with the 3D printer on his back.
Oh my gosh! I'm so glad that you brought that up. I'm so glad that I would have forgot that. I physically ran into him and knocked his printer. And I was
That's
like,
really funny.
So before we went, I might be really loud because I moved my mic. So before we went, I warned Mike, I was like, there might be like one or two people who are wearing printers as backpacks. and I was like, I kind of want to make one out of my monoprice mini because like it's super small. And we got there, and he was the only one. He was the only one wearing the printer
He's like,
backpack.
I was gonna say Mitch is like he's the one that's known for that. He goes to all the rep raps with the printer on his back, and
It's so
it's
funny
really cool.
because
Love it.
now I don't want to dox myself, but he's shorter than me, and so I was like, "Who is this? Who's this dude?" And I fucking ran into him, and he's like, "Whoa!" And he like stumbles a little bit, and then I see the printer on his back. I'm like, "What the hell?" That was so funny. It was decently crowded, and I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but one thing that um, nerds, I guess I'll say, or geeks, mainly like, you know, work in their house kind of people, not shut-ins, but like not at the outdoors people, don't know how to work in crowds. A lot of them just like stop in the middle of the aisle, or they're like just looking around at stuff. And it's like, buddy, this is the middle of a road. I gotta walk here. That was my only complaint. Was it was a little crowded, and I kind of felt like I had to like rush everywhere because otherwise I'd run into the crowd. That was my only big complaint of the venue itself. Rest of it was amazing. It was well spaced out, especially up at the top here. Um, and I wish I talked to more of the independent creators. Not wish. I kind of alluded to this when I was talking about the Recreator, but that kind of stuff in 3D printing doesn't interest me as much. Like the people that build their own printers, like the Voron, for instance. Um, it's really impressive, but it's not like I don't think I could hold a conversation with somebody long term about it because it just isn't that interesting to me. Because like the Ender to me, like the Ender 3 V3 can print all metal, has linear reros, all that. Prints phenomenally, prints fast. That's all I care about. I'm more interested in what 3D printing can do as opposed to what 3D printing can do. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, I am more interested in what I can make rather than what the tool can do. I view like a 3D printer like I view a hammer. So, you know, you can make a hammer that like is really optimized to glide through the air so it takes weight off your hand, or you go to Harbor Freight and grab a hammer off the shelf for a couple dollars. They're both going to hammer wood the same amount. That's kind of how I view 3D printing. Don't take that as like a callous thing. Like I'm saying that these people are like don't deserve to be here. They absolutely do, and they are the backbone of what develops new technology in 3D printing. I just that's not my niche that I operate in. So, it was a cool part of RepRap, probably the coolest part of RepRap, but it wasn't my dig. So I don't have as many experiences talking with like creators. There was one guy who had an Evangelion printer, which Mike thought was cool because I pointed out to him, I was like, dude, look at the Evangelion printer. And he was like, not everything green and purple is Evangelion. And I said, no, literally it says Ava unit blank on the top of it. And he goes, real shit? So yeah. Do you have any opinions on RepRap in general? I know you weren't at East Coast, but it gives me a
I
second
wasn't
for my
at East
voice
Coast,
to
but
rest.
I went to Midwest 2 years in a row, and
Because
I'm
you're more
definitely
interested
going
in
next
the
week.
technical stuff than like what I
Yeah,
am. We're like
I
kind of
think I
opposites.
think it's a really cool thing for everybody to sort of get together, and obviously you have all the sponsored booths and stuff, and those are cool. Um, but I like just talking to people who do cool stuff with their printers or make cool printers themselves.
Oh, it's
Like any of the
amazing.
homebrew stuff is super awesome to see in person.
I
Um,
so no, should interrupt you very briefly. As somebody who's gone to tech conventions before, like I've been to Tech Connect in Washington D.C., which is where like big companies show off their like industrial tech. I like RepRap a lot more because I feel like independent creators make more advances because a business will only make an advancement if it gets them money.
if it's profit,
But
yeah.
like people will just like the Recreator. This guy's like, I want to recycle filament. It's gonna take me more time and money, but I want to do it. So fuck it, I'm gonna do it. But like when I worked at the recycling plant, they were like, we can't work with PET because it's too expensive. We have to work with polypropylene. I was like, why? And they're like, well, it's cheaper. I'm like, oh, okay. But like PET could do more, and they're like, yeah, but polypropylene's cheaper. So like we're not gonna even invest in PET. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like, and that always makes me really angry. So yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, it's the the fact that just money drives companies when you have all of these really smart, really talented people working at those companies, and a lot of times they have to fight to get funding to research cool stuff, and a lot of times they just can't, just because it's not profitable for the company, which really, really sucks. And that's why the rep rap movement and movements like the right to repair, even,
Oh yeah, right to repair.
I think are really important, because it's not always about the money. It's about doing cool stuff, or making a difference for the future.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't always have to be about money.
yeah. So with that, I'm gonna move over into the coolest part of this, which is my live cam, showing off all my swag. So first off, here is the business card. I ended up printing way too many. I was gonna print 20, and my dad said 50, take it or leave it when he sent it to the printer. But I got my logo, content creator, and graduate engineer. Little plug. You guys know I'm an environmental engineer. Guys, I'm an environmental engineer. It's real. Dr. Gamer is real. And then there's all my socials, which you guys already know. Um, so little information. I didn't mention this when I talked about Prusa, but they have an SLA printer, which I want to learn more about. I can't. It's really expensive. $2,000 is crazy for a. That's my only thing with Prusa. They make quality products. I'm not dissing them in any way. They're so expensive though. I don't think anybody would. They're definitely a premium product at a premium price. So, but I want to look into this a little bit more because it looked really cool when I saw it. So they had an SLA printer that they were demoing. Where am I gonna put all this shit? Maybe just on my floor. Protopasta had stickers. I got an East Coast RepRap sticker. Look at that. There. I got an East Coast RepRap sticker. Let's go.
Dude, one of my favorite things is walking around the booth and just snagging stickers.
I was snagging so much shit, dude. I stopped snagging stickers because I don't really use them, but I snagged.
I don't use them either. They're all in my car from both Midwest Rep Raps that I went to. I've got 2 bags of stickers.
So I don't want to commit to this, but I would really like. I liked it so much. I wouldn't mind coming to Midwest with you. Yo, Kirby and I's first IRL meetup. Anyway, Creality has a laser engraver, which looked really cool. They have a. I normally don't like these ones, the open ones, because Kirby tells me they're dangerous. But they now have an enclosed one, which if it can compete with something like the Guiki Cloud or the what's the other one? The Glowforge. I would love to get into laser cutting.
Yeah, I wanna get a CO2 laser so bad.
Yeah,
and
so
you
they
can get cheaper ones on like AliExpress.
So they have protective covers that you can put over their standalone units that Kirby doesn't like to make them ones that Kirby does like. Kirby endorses these no, I'm just messing. Or I'm pretty sure they have like actual all-in-one units, but I'd have to see. They also have ones that you can add to a 3D printer. Again, showing how Creality is based. Look at that. You can turn your old Ender into a laser.
I actually have one of those modules and never put it on because I'm terrified of it.
Look, Creality remains committed to providing customers with superior functional engraving machines and effortlessly transform ideas into reality. Shout out Creality for being based. Oh, so by the way, here's the test for the Mike twisted way too much. But here's the twist for the bottle cap that I did. I want to use this technique in something else. Like I could do feet on something like that. another way to recycle is to use caps. I might publish this design, even though it's nothing too like impressive, but it's just a perfectly engineered screw to take bottle caps. Okay. Oh, the sticker fell. So Printed Solid, they were there. Their booth was all filament. Like all they had was like you could buy filament, and I was like, well, why am I gonna come to a 3D printing convention and buy filament? But then I realized that every roll was $15, and I was like, oh well, a roll of PLA is $15. That's not great. But they meant all their rolls. So their booth, I think actually, I'm gonna quickly snap back to the video here. If you can see, I'm gonna make this like really big. So you can see this booth right here. That's the Printed Solid booth. You see like the table here. You see these boxes in the background, Kirby?
Yeah.
So these boxes can hold 9 rolls of filament. They had these stacked up to where you couldn't see the workers behind them. On all ends. That's how many fucking boxes of filament they went through that they sold. It was like a madhouse. You can see right here. This is towards the end of the day. And they had sold out this entire table's worth of filament. They also had an entire pile of filament back here that... Let's see, is this from earlier in the day? I think this is the same time, unfortunately. Oh no, actually this might be earlier. You can I think these are the same time, unfortunately. But yeah, it was crazy. People were mobbing this filament. And then I went over because I was getting FOMO. I'm like, people are mobbing this filament. And then I realized how cheap it was, and I was like, dude, I gotta mob it too. So that's why the bag is from Printed Solid, is because I took like the filament. So first up, they had a blue PTG, which I'm gonna, now that I've shown this off on stream, I can open it and start using it. But I'm gonna use this puppy to make the recreator. So I have my Ace Gamer colors. I have the blue and the green, which I'm super excited about. But this isn't anything too special, but it's just PTG for $15 a roll. My beloved. So this one was super cool. I'm like super excited about this one. The next two are PLAs, but they're still exciting to show off. They're in boxes. That means they're premium filament. But this one, oh man, I grabbed the cooler one first, unfortunately. This one is a blue-green silk with a red. So it's a tri-extrusion, but it's blue and red in the X and red in the Y. Or in the Z, I mean. So I think this filament's going to look beautiful. I can't wait to print with it. And, again, $15 for this roll. A roll of silk filament from somewhere like Inland, which is the cheapest that I find. Theirs is like $25. So I was tempted to buy like 9 rolls of filament, but I had to remind myself that like I'm paying for all of this out of pocket, so I can't like write it down as like a business expense like Kirby can. So the final roll I got is another Silk Magic, as they call it. I think they're called Silk Magics. But anyway, this is blue, green, and orange, which I think would make a really great Halloween print. So I might have to open this and print coming soon. But look at that, Kirby. You like that?
Yo, that's sick.
But look at it. It's green, and then it's kind of hard to see on camera, but the orange has a little bit of blue in there. can you see it? Yeah, you can kind
Is
of
it?
see it.
It's tri-extrusion
This
or?
is a tri-extrusion one, yeah.
Okay, sweet.
So I don't know if I'm misusing the term, but it's 3 colors.
All extruded at the same time, right?
I
It's not like
don't know.
it's not like rainbow where it changes color.
So no, they're all at the same time, but they're in different axes. So it's not like
Yeah,
some
so
of them.
that is tri-extrusion.
Some of them,
yeah.
if it's co-extrusion, it'll be like split in the middle, and some like 3 ways will be like a triangle, of each. This one I believe is like split down the middle is orange, and then in the middle this way is blue and green, which I think will be really cool. Can't wait to try them. So, I promised I'd talk about Cocoa Puff, not Cocoa Puff. I keep calling them that by accident. Cocoa Press. But, oh wait, I didn't grab that. I grabbed something else. My bad. Cocoa Press. I was so excited to grab this. But they had I saw this on Twitter, and I was like, this is a based pin. I want to get one. Excuse me. So, my throat's dying from all this talking that I've been doing. I normally can talk for hours, but my cold has been killing my throat. So, they had this pin, and I was like so excited to get it. But yeah, Cocoa Press is a big ally. So any of my LGBTQA plus gamers out there, Cocoa Press is your people to reach out to. And Kirby, they had the special nozzle, the special hot end made for them. That was.
Yeah, that was really cool to see on Twitter, the Revo that was made.
So, next up, I didn't talk about them because I didn't go to their booth for very long, but I picked up one of their things. So Wham Bam, they make like the silicone mats that you can do to like do soldering and other things on. And they had these coasters that say Wham Bam on them. So Mike and I
wait, that's sick.
Right? It's cool. I was tempted to grab more stuff for you, but I don't see you very often, so it's okay. We'll go to Midwest, and I'll use my Omnivert powers to get us extra stuff. And this time, so this is a good segue into my next thing that I want to show off. So, couple booths had like filament. I did a little bit of grabbing. I'm gonna wait for it to catch up so that Kirby can laugh at it. I grabbed a little bit of filament. Just a little bit. But I grabbed some filament. I would have grabbed more, but Mike told me, do you really need all that filament? And like, if you're at like a career fair or something like that, and you grab like a bunch of pens, I understand being like, how many pens do you need? But like, I actually use this stuff. So like, I kind of am mad that he stopped me. But I'll kind of go in order. So I really wanted to grab more of it, but I felt bad because I actually like Prusa, so I didn't want to grab too much of their Prusa mint. But I got this opal green and jet black from them, which you can see here. I'm really excited to use this. I got 2 of them. So I'll let you guys know how that is. Expect a lot of... I am thinking about doing a whole East Coast RepRap like series of frogs where I just like show off one of the filaments that I got as like a special like thing. Oh, you know what would be even cooler is if I had like B-roll of the event in the background. That would be really cool. But yeah, so I've heard really great things about Prusa, and so I think this will be really cool. It's not coming up really well on camera, but this green is a little like speckled, like Kirby was talking about their black like glitter or whatever it's called. So I'm really excited to mess with that Prusa. Filament PM, they're another company that does filament, and they made the grave mistake of leaving filament out for me to grab, so I grabbed filament. This was the biggest joke. I couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited about the stream, and I was like, I can't wait to show all the shit that I grabbed. But anyway, So I'm just gonna kind of go in order again. I would love to do a stream where like a video where I show off all this filament, but this is skin PLA. The glare from my light is bad, but this is a skin PLA plus. Looks really cool. They had a lot of duller colors. I was kind of hoping that they'd have some more like kind of like a cookie CAD kind of shit. But here is Sweet Mint PLA Plus. I'm not a huge PLA Plus guy, but since I got it for free, I'll definitely be using it. Here is a Slate Silver PETG, and I've never used it, but it looks really similar to that Prusa color that Kirby was talking about. It's speckled. I don't know. Here, I don't want to take it out of the bag because then it's gonna get all the. Oh yeah, this is exactly like what Kirby was talking about. Oh, it won't focus. Dang, it won't focus. Come on. Oh, you can see it. You see the speckles?
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to print with that. Again, I'm trying to get better at printing with PETG, so stuff like sample spools of PET really helped me out. So when I went up to the guy that was running the thing, and I was like, to get more, you talk to them. And I was like, oh, these colors look so cool, you know, like, I really like the blue because my sister, Gigi, she's really into, like, teals. Teals are her favorites. And that mint is, like, a really nice teal color. And he goes, well, I actually have a blue, so this is baby blue PLA+. It looks very similar to the light blue that I've already demonstrated on my channel. But, nonetheless, it's free. And so I will take it, and I will use it, and I will love it. Here is a Marble Jet Black PLA. I've already used a marble, but this one looks to be a little bit darker, have more speckles in it. So this looks really cool. I'm excited to use this. Oh, this one I was super excited about. There was a girl at the table who was like looking at the filament, and I just started talking to her, and she was like, "This is such a cool PETG," and I was like, "It seems like a lot of people are using PETG now," and I think in general the industry is trying to move away from PLA and towards PETG because PETG technically is cheaper for the raw material than PLA is. But this is a like a green gold. It's called Froggy Gold, but I think that'll make an excellent frog. This one is another one of skin, so I have two of the skins, and I think this is another frog. Yeah, this is another Froggy Gold. So I'll put that there so you guys remember that I did that. Kind of getting towards the end of this, of my swag that I picked up. I'm definitely gonna take more swag if I go with Kirby, because Mike wasn't as interested because he doesn't 3D print. But Kirby, you're gonna want to steal as much as you can, right?
Yeah, obviously.
I'm serious. I might try and come like fly in. I'll have to stay at Kirby's house. So
well, I stay overnight at a hotel because it's a 6-hour drive for me.
Ew! Anyway, so, I mentioned Micro Center. They were, like, teamed up with Creality. They must be, like, big Creality, like, people. Which, honestly, I'm a big Creality guy, so... a based Micro Center. But, they had a wheel. And I was like, oh, shit, that's awesome. Because one of the things in the wheel was a $10 off a roll of filament. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. Because, like, then I could get some, like, TPU or PET for, like, pretty cheap. Because they have the rainbow TPU, which I already bought. But I'd love to buy more of it. And I spun the wheel, and I ended up getting a Creality shirt. So now I could be the Creality shill I was always meant to be. So... it says Creality on the front, and then on the back it says Creality Cloud app, 3D industry evangelist, 3D printing, Ender 3, CR Touch, great first printer for makers, palette box. I was like, it's just a random grab bag of shit that Creality's done, which is so funny. So yeah, they also had a giveaway, but unfortunately, they were doing the drawing on Sunday, and I only went for Saturday, so I didn't get to go. I didn't get to do the drawing. So weirdly enough, I don't know the basis behind this, but Thangs was giving out these necklaces, and I just thought it was cool. They have these, like, I don't know if that's like a special logo or anything, or if it's just like a cool looking piece, but it was a cool necklace, so I just picked it up. Also, I was talking to the guy for so long that I decided, well, I might as well get a free thing for my troubles. I think I'm getting towards the end of all the stuff that I grabbed. Ah, yes. So, I don't know where I put it, but I did grab a sticker from Filament Stories. Also, I grabbed this. So this is a vase mode model that she did, and it's not super, like, I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but what I talked to Gigi about is she might try a new technique in painting on this. She wants to try like a spray paint dry brush hybrid thing, and so she might use this model to try it out on. And I gotta say, it is a wonderfully made model. There's some blemishes. The print must have like melted or burnt or something like that, but the print itself is like really durable. She's made a couple of videos about how much she loves vase mode models, so she had a lot of vase mode stuff there, but like the quality on the print is really good. It's not really showing up as good on camera as it looks in person, but this is a beautiful model. What did I do? Oh, I turned off the live cam. Also, she was giving out these, so they're little mini rolls of filament. And she said that you can use these as like your maker coin. My maker coin technically is the Robuddy, but I wasn't able to print enough of them to give them out as my business card. So I actually just gave out actual business cards. But in the future, I'd like to give out the Robuddies as my version of a business card, which they're kind of comparable in size, kind of. But anyway, so the model is really sharp, and Clockspring 3D actually made a model which is like a booth where you can put all the rolls of filament, and it looks like it's a booth that's selling filament. So this was really, really cool. Maybe I can clip this part of the live stream and I can post this on my Twitter and be like, hey, go and check out Filament Stories, because she made a video about this specific model and talking about East Coast RepRap. But it is really cool. You spin off the... Whoa! You can spin off either of the pieces of the spool, which is like super cool. And then here's the filament. And you just spin it on. I'm in love with this model. It's so cool. But it's a little small for me. I like a little bit bigger model. So some various knickknacks I picked up, and then I'm gonna move into the final part, which I'm so excited about. So, there was a group that was doing enclosures, like a Kickstarter for enclosures. And they gave out these like business card holders, but the thing that they were showing out off was their not proprietary. Their like new invention, which is this like easy clip design. I'm not a huge fan of it, but that's not a dig towards them. But basically, you like push and spin it, and it pops out, and then you put it back in and click it in like that. It's the Boxify enclosure if you're interested. don't have any of their socials or anything. Don't know who made this, but it's a fidget toy, and so I got to play with it while I was nervously walking around the convention. And it was printed in a cool tri-extrusion filament, which looks really cool as you play with it. I don't know. Again, I don't know who was giving this out. This was at the what's the name of the competition that they run, Kirby?
What do you mean?
It's like they run the Derby, and they run something else.
No idea what it's called.
It's like the best in print, but it has like a special name. It's like a joke.
Let
me look it up.
No idea off the top of my head.
It's gonna bother me. East Coast RepRap Festival. Let's see. It's one of the competitions. Fresh Prince of Bel Air. That's the name of it. They just had these like laying around. I thought was fun. And then Prussia had these printed off. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just grab one. And it's printed with that shiny filament that Kirby always talks about. So yeah. That is pretty much it for the swag. Now, as I clean off my desk and give my throat a little bit of chance to rest for a second, I'm going to move into the coolest part of the stream, which I'm the most excited for, which is, drum roll please, the influencer bag from the Recreator. I'm so excited to go through this. So, I guess let's just empty everything out. So, first off, I want to say the coolest part about this is not only did he have his own custom printed bags, which here's the other side, which has the QR code to download the Recreator, which I already put in chat for you guys if you're interested. But that's cool that he has his own custom bags. But these were all handmade by him. If you're in the Discord, he talked about it in the Discord. So these are two rolls of filament that were made on the Recreator. This one is 24 grams and this one is 21 grams. So they're not huge, which I'll talk about in a little bit when I talk about general Recreator stuff. Super cool. Also, he shows off which bottle they were, which I think is I don't know, I'm a huge sucker for this stuff. Like, this is really cool for me. There is this like pamphlet talking all about the Recreator and all about how it's made and all the like specifics of it. Here's, oh my gosh, I should have gone in and shown this. But that's a cross section of the filament. So you see how it like wraps the thing around and makes it like that. I think it's really cool. Since it's hollow, you have to increase your flow rates, but they have some expected, what's the word? They have some recommended settings to print with, which I think is really cool. I'll let you know how close these are to, like, how well these work. I'm going to just use these and be like, here's the Recreator recommendations, here's my recommendations for everything. So here are some, like, again, I'm a huge nerd for this stuff, so I'm, like, just geeking out. But here are some, like, literature about, like, the economics of it. So, people have been questioning the value. People like Kirby will be like, well, how much
what do you mean,
money?
like, what the fuck?
I'm just trying to mess with you. But in the USA, in some states, you can return your 2-liter plastic bottle for 5 cents. The average 2-liter bottle, when run through the Recreator, can get about 25 grams of filament, meaning that at 20 cents for 4 bottles, that gets you 100 grams, which would be about $2 for a kilogram of material, which is really cheap. Now, of course, this doesn't factor in all the effort it takes to make it. Like, you have to you have to clean it, you have to remove the label, and then you have to factor in the amount of energy it takes to strip it. But even at $2 a kilogram, that's still crazy. The economics do kind of go down if you're outside of the United States, because like in Europe, you can turn in your plastic bottles for 25 cents or 25 pounds. My bad, I don't know what that is in American. Which really increases the cost. It's about $11 a roll, but still $11 a roll for filament is crazy. But what they point out is that a lot of other countries, it's a lot easier to recycle. So this is kind of like an American solution if you can. A cool part is if you have something like the Ender 3v3, which has a runout sensor, you can actually make multicolored models with the different colored plastics from the bottles. So I gotta give props to them for doing a Ace Gamer colored model. They knew that I was gonna read this on stream. So yeah, one thing that they do recommend, because plastic basically is like an alloy where every plastic is different from each other, you want to keep your bottles separate from each other. So that's why this says this was a crush one. You don't want to mix crush with Pepsi or something like that. So because it has the opportunity to mess up. All right, so next thing, Nerds Gummy Clusters. The highlight of the no, I'm just kidding. This is a cool extra. So I saw these and I was super excited to see them. I can show you now, Kirby. So they, oh my, oh, I hope this comes up on camera. It does! It does! Oh my gosh. Kirby, can you see that?
Hang on, it's catching up.
I'll go slow. Look at that design. Oh my god, that is so cool. I gotta get one of those fancy beds that has this special thing on the bottom. That is magical. That sounded really like, again, I'm fanboying, so I'm letting myself be cringe for a little bit. But this is made with a brown bottle, which is cool, and that coupled with this effect on the back, I'm just gonna keep doing that because that is like amazing. Look at how cool that is. East Coast RepRap 2023, and then he's got the cap just like me. I will say, no shade, but my cap design is better. So I'm kidding. But yeah, that is cool. I might have to put that on my backpack. Save the plastic bags for other stuff. These are so these are stripped plastic bottles, but they're actually, Kirby, do you know what these are?
I have no idea.
So they're to put around your cords. They're cord organizers.
Oh,
You see them?
that's neat.
They actually, he uses them in, you can see them in there. You see it? I don't know why my camera's not focusing really well, but you can see him wrapped around the filament, holding the filament together. So he doesn't use like zip ties or anything. So everything in these is like reused, which I think is really cool. So yeah, these are for cords, which for the 3D printing nerd that like messes around with stuff, these are super helpful because you don't have to keep clipping zip ties. So that's cool. And then this is the, I keep saying I'm like the most excited for this. I'm the most excited for this, but this is also really cool. I kind of don't want to spoil it, but I opened this up already because I was just too excited to wait. So I'm sorry if I'm not like, what? Because I did that earlier. Also, I'm extremely tired and extremely sick, if you can hear. My throat is dying. But this is the perks of being an influencer. So, look. It's a pin! Look.
Yo.
I can't wait to put that on my pin board next to the Cocoa Press one. But I should ask him what this is made out of. If it's made out of a recycled material. Or how he made it. I should put that in the Discord, actually. I should be like, hey, I opened up your box on stream. What is this pin made out of? Because it's really cool. But here are some of the stickers. Holy shit, these are so cool. I'm gonna have to put these on my Recreator when it's done. But, so there's this one. Creator 3D. And then there's this one that has the logo. There's this one with the logo. And then there's this one with his Bitmoji on it. That shows up really well on camera. And then this one was at the booth. I picked up I should have picked up more of these in retrospect. But I don't use stickers very often. But yeah, that's the Recreator logo. So, man, I'm coming off the high of excitement now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all of it, everything's catching up to me. I'm like super tired, but I am so excited with how RepRap Festival went. It was like amazing. I am biased, I know, fanboying, I know. Special shout out to the folks at Recreator. This was amazing. I can't wait to. Sorry that I'm not making any RepRap videos this week, but I looked at it on Sunday and I said, I don't want to rush a video and do a disservice to how great RepRap Festival was. So I'm giving myself a little bit more time to make some bigger videos. I might make a vlog style video because Mike and I took a lot of footage of us just messing around the conference. And then the stream will function as me like doing a more like put together, more informational look through RepRap. And then I'm going to make a separate video completely just on the Recreator. That is a guarantee. What you can expect, hopefully, it all depends on how my weekend goes, but tomorrow I plan to work on the printing of the pet. Now that I've showed it off, I can go and print it. But next week I would love to have a frog printed in Crush. I'm getting like antsy. I really want to start stripping my own bottles, but I'm not quite there yet. Oh look, and it also has the build notes on the back. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, Stefan from CNC Kitchen really is the one that like made the newest, biggest video on the Recreator. Hoping that my video is like everybody watches it and is like, holy shit, this is such a good video.
The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time. But so the specific thing that I want to work on in Recreator land. So I'm going to switch over. So I did my piece about RepRap. Now that I can just gush about the Recreator, I'm going to gush. So here are some things that I want to work on. I want to start working with it, seeing what bottles I can get like made. I want to see if I could work on a consistent like system for making the filament. And then the big thing that I'm very interested in seeing is if the community is looking into, because this is only 24 grams, it's not a lot of filament. And so if you want to print like long-term with PET, it's not really long-term sustainable, because like for somebody like Kirby that does printing for business, you can't really let 24 grams go. You have to like babysit it. And that's a downside for people that run like print farms or, you know, have big prints. Like I'd love to print like a huge vase out of PET, because then I could make it a really nice pot because it won't like degrade in the sun, and also then it's recycled, which makes me feel just great. But the community has called it seaming, which is you connect one roll to another, and I have this idea for seaming which I want to try out, and if it works, it could completely change, because if the community has been working on seaming for a while, and the problem is there's just not really a great way to consistently do it over and over and over again. But I have an idea, and if it works, I think it would be game changing. But I don't want to I don't know, I don't want to brag before I've even tried it. So take this with a grain of salt, because again, I haven't even done it yet, so I could just completely mess it up. And maybe somebody has already tried it and done better than me, and or failed, and I'm like, don't even know what I'm talking about. But I have an idea. I also would like to try, and if my idea for seaming works, I would like to try pinting with other materials, because bottles can be made out of more than just PET. And that would be really cool. But my specific idea for other filaments, I don't want to spoil, because that might be my ace in the hole to have a video that is really new to the field. So, other stuff to mention, check out the Recreator. Amazing work. If you liked what you saw, and hopefully I will have these videos out coming soon. I'm really interested in it, as you can hear. I'm just a little bit tired and run down. It's a busy time of year for me, as I'm writing my thesis to defend it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So it's been really busy for me, but I really want to devote a lot of my time to making the Recreator and messing around with it. So yeah. Oh, also, Josh told me to be on the lookout for any developments in the Recreator space, because he said that pultrusion is kind of at its peak. He doesn't see a way that he could improve pultrusion past where it already is. But what he's going to look at next is pelletizing, which you can see. I'm going to pull up the video again. I'm going to switch off my camera. So, bye everybody on camera. I'm going to hop off camera because I'm starting to lose my voice and get a little tired. But, I'm on the wrong side. You can see in the background of this video that bottle with chopped up plastic in it. He already has developed a cheap shredder, so to shred plastic. I think it's like $180 or something like that to make it, which isn't really expensive. So if that was like long-term sustainable, that would be game-changing, because then people could pelletize the plastic on their own end. Because one of the biggest downsides of the Recreator is that the top and bottoms of the bottle are wasted, and so that includes like the cap and stuff. So if you could just chop up those bits and make PET filament out of it, then the Recreator wouldn't be... It would take one of the negatives off of the Recreator, which would be nice. Also, it could mean that you could have a continuous stream of filament. So if he made a pelletizer that could make filament, something like the what's the name of that one that we were looking at? The Philstruder.
Yeah, Philstruder.
If he could make a system like the Philstruder that was as feasible to make as the Recreator, then you could technically have an infinite loop for your plastic. Not infinite, because eventually plastic will like degrade in strength over time as it's melted and remelted. But like, say you are prototyping, you could just throw your prototype print back into the shredder, shred it, make new filament with it. You could take your support structures, you could shred them and make new filament out of it. It would be like amazing. Again, that's been my dream since I started printing, so to hear that he's working on that is like amazing. And I actually have experience in making plastic blends. So he and I, this is not just me saying this as a fanboy. He and I talked about this at RepRap, Josh and I. He said that he would like to work with me in the future on developing some of those plastic blends. So that is a ways away because the extruder isn't even prototyped yet, let alone at a stage to be adapted in a way like the Recreator itself. But be on the lookout for that because that's going to be the next big movement in recycling. And I think if that happened, I think that would be the death of PLA, in my opinion. Because not only is PLA really awful to recycle, but PET is natively cheaper. And if you could just take something from your recycling bin and chop it up and turn it into filament, that would be it. I don't think anybody would use PLA anymore. It would be like modern day ABS, where like it's a fringe material that only certain makers use. Would you agree with that, Kirby, or no?
It's hard to say
Maybe
because
death is a
the
little.
benefits of the benefits of PLA is that it's super easy to print with.
Yeah, but if you're making your own blends, you could make a blend with You could make your own PET
True.
G. Like you could get the glycol, and you could make it like Greengate does, and it could be printed at the biggest problem is the temperature, but a lot of or the sorry the biggest problem is the hygroscopic nature of PET. That I don't think is ever going to be solved. However, a lot of companies are making better drying systems, and OBS just disconnected. Oh no!
You're back. It looks
I'm
like
back.
you're back.
Okay,
Looks like you're back.
my internet. I don't know what's going on with my internet, but I'm rambling, and I'll be streaming tomorrow, so I can also, if I forgot anything, I can say it tomorrow. I think that was just a weird event with my internet, and I'm kind of back now. But I'm gonna sum everything up really quickly, and then I'm gonna head out because my throat's hurting. I need to go and eat a little bit because I skipped lunch to be here because I was so excited, and I gotta clean up because everything's all over my floor. But thank you very much for watching. I hope to have more RepRap videos out next week. I am so excited to formally announce working on Recreator stuff and expect a lot of Recreator content in the future because I'm gonna be a shill. I'm gonna be shilling the shit out of it. So expect to see that coming down the pipeline. But if you made it this far in the stream, if you made it this far in the video or in the VOD, my bad. Thank you very much for watching. It means the world to have anybody caring about the streams that I make, not to get too sappy. And if you met with me at the festival and are watching me, I hope my content's just as good as I pitched it. I hope I did a good job advertising and not over advertising. And I hope you stick around for my future content because I have a lot of ideas for how to grow. And I think there's some big projects in my future, which I'm really excited for. Kirby, do you have anything you wanted to close with?
No, not really. It's your stream, so.
Yo, he's so true.
It is so true.
Yeah, also, if you're watching this live, check me out on Twitch tomorrow. We'll be streaming the end to Minecraft. It's gonna be great. So it's also gonna be my first Twitch live stream, which I'm a little nervous for. I gotta set that up tonight with Kirby. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned a little bit, got inspired a little bit, and maybe decided to go to something like this in the future. So, thank you very much for watching. Bye!